Is a bit.
Yeah, this is good. Okay. So, welcome. Happy Diwali. It is actual Diwali today. So, Diwali is homecoming. And it's, I don't know if you have heard about the story of Ram. It's an epic, Indian epic, and goes back to 4000 BC. So it's about this king in Ayodhya whose wife is kidnapped by another neighboring king. And it's the fight over how he fights and how much help he gets, and then he's bringing her back. So it's his return that is celebrated. So, of course, the city people and entire kingdom is thrilled because it's not just him bringing back his wife or queen, but it is a victory of good over evil. So that was celebrated. And how did they celebrate it? So they're cooking, of course, and they light up all kinds of these diyas, so little candles, yeah, with ghee and oil or whatever, and decorate their houses. So the entire city is lit up in welcome of this. So now if you don't know the story of Ram, it's really interesting. Maybe you should check it out sometime. But if you read the details of the story, it doesn't make too much sense in 2017 because it seems really fictitious or fictional. Yes, it happened, is historical. So historians may have a great keen interest in trying to find out, and religions have keen interest in that. Archaeologists have keen interest, but to most of the people, the story is more entertaining because they can't see how it could have happened. These flying brigade of monkey gods going to the other island and rescuing the wife and all of that stuff. So what kind of weapons did they have? What kind of ammunition did they have to do this, when we don't see that they had those fast vehicles as we have. So it's really another world of telepathy, intuition, and astral and spiritual projection, which we can't even imagine. So the world changed so much. We can't relate to that. That's why it seems like really it happened, But since it's a story of good over evil, everybody loves this story, and it's continued to repeat itself every year. Not just Hindus, but all Indians would celebrate this. So it's almost homecoming. It's not almost, it is homecoming. It's celebrated as that. So now when we look at these interesting worlds, this is 4000 BC that this took place. 4000 BC, from the world of Ram to the world of today, how many worlds have we stepped in and out of to get here? How many worlds, It's almost like living on different planets with a whole different consciousness, with a whole different expression, right? Human beings have changed. So even if we, never mind 4,000 years ago, if we just go to our grandmother's time, look at the world. We can't relate how they were thinking and the facilities they had. So whether it's architecture, whether it's technology, whether it's human mind and living relationships, the entire shift has taken place, even in the last 20 years. So we're not surprised that we're right now, again, in midst of a new world. We have stepped into a new world. But most of us don't recognize it because we don't have those mirrors or those seers who can tell us that this is the time, this is the new calendar almost. But if you notice the signs, what are the signs of something new that has happened and something, your world that could have become outdated? So the first sign is chaos, just chaos. So if you look at chaos, we look at now what is happening. So if all of a sudden you find bizarre things happening, so it could just be that your loved ones, your partners, your spouses, or all of a sudden there's separation. People who you took for granted are coming up and saying, maybe this is not what I want. Maybe this is not the relationship, or maybe this is not the type of relationship that I want. All of a sudden, right? So it's a drastic, dramatic move, a big change. It could happen in wealth creation. It could happen with business partners. We could actually be losing a lot of wealth because when humans change, they act differently. They act in self-interest first. In times of chaos, nobody is loyal that way, as when there is peace, because everybody is scared and anxious and trying to save themselves. So we find a lot of chaos in the business world. We find high stresses, it doesn't matter what. We also find immense stress on the physical body and mind, right? So the mind, you lose your clarity, you lose your direction, right? You get confused. And it's, if you noticed, it's been happening for a while, but last 4 months, 5 months, did you notice the speed, the quantum speed at things are moving? They're manifesting, they're changing so fast that we can't get a grip. We can't get a hold on what's happening. So we are throwing ourselves or being thrown into situations. We have no concept or no definition of time. We're just living situations to situations to situations, and they don't cease. One starts, and before we know, there's another one, and there's another call. So there's no time for the self. There's no time to rest. Now, what happens at the physical level? Because when a shift like that, a new world, like a planet within a planet, the matrix changes, right? The dimensions change, the frequencies change, the human operating system mechanics changes, right? So we start to even think and respond differently. So if you noticed how much depression we have, how is depression caused? So first effect is on the human body. Now the first sign is anxiety. That's the body saying that I can't handle it. I don't know where to put this energy. I don't know what to do with it. I can't find a resting space. So there's no resting in your consciousness, never mind just the body, right? So when we look at the human body, what happens when the body gets nervous? When the body gets anxious, the mind is nervous and it starts to get confused and lost and then depressed. So we are seeing high numbers of depression throughout the human chain. It's not just the females, it's not just the children, it's not just the males. From child to adult, we are seeing expression of anxiety and depression. Now we can't go back. The old school was, something must have happened to you earlier on in your life. So your father did something, your grandfather did something, your boss did something, your whatever happened, right? But not necessarily. When this world changes the way I've described it, it is just a very physical chaos. But if we mentalize it, if we look at it emotionally or psychologically, we're not going to find the root. Because it's not something that you did. You didn't create the chaos. You're not the creator of this. So the world has changed. There's a shift, quantum shift in speed, time, space, and we are reacting to that because we don't have grounding for that. So it's almost like we have become children again. New world calls for new governance, a new system, a new structure. How do you sleep? When do you sleep? How do you think? What? So it's like children, we are learning again to adapt to the new world. But you need adults, you need somebody mature to show you. Because how are we going to learn otherwise, right? So the old school of learning was, you learned something, you practiced it, and you practiced it till you mastered it. Okay, that sort of learning. You understood it. There's a whole process in place. So process and practice is how we learned, basically. But the new world is, I'm just going to call it the new world because it truly is that. It's just like a whole different dimension. So this world is not calling for a process because of the quantum speed. Things are happening very fast. If you notice, just watch your thoughts, how fast they're moving. There's no gap. They're overlapping right now. You do one thing, then another thing comes up, then you need to do another thing. So you're action to action to action. There's no mental processing time. You don't even understand why you're here, what is the meaning and purpose of your life, and why you are doing what you're doing. Have you noticed that? Yeah? Are you relating to...
I can't tell you how relieved I am to hear that.
I'm so relieved to hear that.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, what the heck is going on? Like,
yeah.
Mentally, emotionally, physically, it's just a complete chaos, and I just could not understand
yes.
it or explain
yes.
it. That's amazing.
So welcome to the new world, because this is the new world when all of a sudden these symptoms seem to rise and magnify a lot. So it's we don't have a new structure yet. We don't have an energetic system yet to adapt to. We don't have teachers. We don't have models. Yet we need to calibrate, recalibrate. And when we're going to recalibrate, that's the only way to adapt to this new world. Energetically, physically, emotionally, and intelligently. How you can cash in into this new wisdom and intelligence. It's recalibration. Now, how does that work? I don't know if you've heard of quantum entanglement. So when there is already an object, so if you look at yourselves, the human being, we may be right now just like debris thrown in space, just scattered over space. Like we're feeling isolated, we're feeling cut off, right? When we can't sleep in our own bodies, we've lost our home. And home is not a physical address. For human beings, home is their resting consciousness. That's where they rest, right? And when that home is burned down, it's collapsed, you don't know where to rest. You need to have sleeping tablets, or you need to do a lot of practices just to go to sleep. We know that that world has crashed, but we just need to step in consciously into the new world. So coming back to recalibrating, what happens is that when object has been recalibrated, so if you look at yourself as sense objects in space, conscious sense objects in space. So if one object becomes calibrated, just your interaction, your gaze upon that, just seeing that calibrates you. The process starts. So we don't have to learn any new ethics. There's no new code of conduct. There's no new morality. There's no new behavior also that way. You just have to get back to recalibrating, which we're going to do today. Okay? We're going to start it today or initiate it today. But coming at what are we recalibrating? What do you think? What are we recalibrating? Our energetics, our physical body, but most importantly, our senses. It is the senses that you recalibrate. Your world is your sense perception, what you perceive. So you could be looking at the entire planet, but you only see that one thing, or you only think of that one thing. You only miss one thing. Why? Because that is in your field of perception and you're attached to that. Right? Does that make sense? So ultimately the key lies in the trajectory, in the sense trajectory. And if we go back, now what are the five senses? So we have other senses, but the five senses are really obvious, which are, so the sense of taste, touch, feel, and everything that creates experience. You create your experience from what you are seeing, what you are touching, what you're feeling. That gives you a level of understanding. So these five senses are all projecting out. So when I look at this or I look at you, I see you, right? But there's the inner sense. So all these senses have the inner senses too. So imagine the tail end is on the inside, invisible. It's plugged into a trajectory. So you know what happens when you look at something outside, all of a sudden you start to make sense of it from your memory, from your logic, from your rationale, from what you know, what you don't understand, all of that, right? Does it make sense? So you've got half of your sense world is projecting out, half of that sense world is inside. The tail end is the trajectory. So if we want to recalibrate, what are we going to do? We're going to go to the inside, where this trajectory is. And we're going to basically, if any change must happen, it'll be at the seat of that projection system, at the seat of the trajectory. That is where we will change. That is where recalibration, because now what happens is when you look at the same orange, after the recalibration, you will see the orange with a difference, right? After the recalibration. So you will see your chaos in a different way. Now, when you see it in a different way, now what also happens is when you actually work with the sense world, the sense power, and if you have become very aware of the inner senses, what happens is just by sitting at the trajectory, you're able to fine-tune them, align them to the time, space, speed. Also, level of intelligence and knowing and wisdom and intuition. So intuitively, you're looking at something. Intuitively, you're accessing something that you could not have accessed because it's recalibrated. The programming is different. You're seeing something else and you're going to respond. And it'll still remain situation to situation. But because the response time, what you're seeing is harmonious to your physical body, the energetics, you will have a restfulness. So you will feel rested. You will feel, but also you will not be able to define the world. You will find a new language, as I have, as those who have recalibrated themselves. They'll find a new way because you're seeing things in a different way, a new way, and you're going to describe them because the inner dictionary has changed. The vocabulary shifts, right? Understanding shifts. So this is how the trajectory system, the sense world, works. So where in the human body, does that make sense? Are you guys with me? Okay. So if there is a question, I can take it now, or we can take it later too. So when in the sense world, where do we go? We can't obviously work on the senses that are projecting. We have to go to the center of seeing the trajectory. So where in the body do we go to? Obviously, where is the seat? So some mystic seers called it the third eye. We're going to go to a place within our body where we can sit on the seat, the trajectory. So we are going to, so if you drew a line from third eye to the back and ear to ear, the center point of that somewhere. You don't have to define it. You just fall into it. Everybody does at some point. So that's the seat where we are going to go sit. And then I'll show you I'm going to take you through a gateway. And the gateway will be today my own organism. Tomorrow it could be you taking somebody else. It's a very interesting phenomenon that we are going to work with. And then we will go deeper into the silence and meditation after that. Does that make sense? Okay. So, because if we understand it, we will have a much better experience. So to start with, so you can see the difference, I want you to bring up some chaos situation in your life right now. So just you're looking at whatever it is. It could just be stress in the body. It could be, I just want you to fully see the chaos as it is. So it could be a situation outside. It could be something, a thought within you. It could be a feeling. It could be just disturbance in the energy. So I just want you to experience that and the losslessness that comes with it, because then I can take you into the restful space so you can see what's happening. So the chaos is where usually you're extremely overwhelmed, wound up, you can't find answers. Your philosophy, your doctrine, your morality, your ethics is not working. The system of thinking is not working. You could be odds with other people, situations, odds with yourself. People can't understand you. You can't understand them. You can't look into their world. They can't look into your world. So that's sort of that level of isolation. So you can see the physical body, how it can make you weak, how it can rob you of the energy field. It's like you're crashing, your consciousness is crashing within the inner walls of the body, wanting to go out, wanting to expand out there, but doesn't know how to break this cage. Okay. So you can open your eyes. Let us start the recalibrating process. But eyes open, back straight, so you're able to experience. And I want you not to, you'll be very tempted to go into silence, but I don't want you to just get silent very quickly, because I want you to watch the process and experience the process of recalibration. It's very powerful. What will happen, we're going to use this technique, but what's going to happen is within seconds after you go through this gateway, you're going to start to experience, it could be different colors, it could be molecules, it could be atoms splitting, it could be any wave of energy, it could be feeling something or seeing something. And what's happening is this is happening in you. When you see outside, it's really happening inside, but your senses are just projecting that this is what you're seeing. So whatever you experience and see, you should know that it is all within you. It's because of what we have done within seconds that's going to shift, and you'll see the magic of how in a physical body, when consciousness shifts through recalibration, what happens. You'll see the magic for yourself.
You said you're okay with questions.
Yeah.
So before you said to become alert,
Yes.
I had dropped off
Yeah.
into a sleep or trance.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, it's fine. So you may still lose yourself 5 minutes later, and it doesn't matter where you are. Just the next 3 minutes, I want you to be, especially 2 minutes, where it happens so fast. It's like just boom. It's like the Big Bang. It happens in split seconds. It's not a process, okay? So I want you to do one thing. I want you to open eyes, stare, gaze at me. When you're gazing at me, you are not really looking at my features, my lipstick, my eyes, my makeup, you are not looking at my behavior. You're not looking at my gestures. I want you just to use me as a gateway. So you're just gazing like a blank stare at me. And what's going to happen is that very quickly after that, some people will get there sooner and some few seconds later, you will not want to open your eyes. Your eyes will automatically just close, because that means you've already connected. So the gateway, even though it's this organism, it's not Ruby as you would see. It is just another organism that is already calibrated. So what's going to happen is when you close your eyes, all of a sudden you will experience something, which is we can discuss later. After that experience is gone, it could be some energetic experience. After that is gone, you'll fall into silence. And I want you to remain in silence. After that, I will guide the meditation. So whatever I say, just go where I take you after that. If you lose me at some point, come back wherever you can join me. But next 2 minutes, be very aware of what's happening at a physical level and what you're seeing. It's not out there, it's happening to you inside. It's a shift inside. Okay, so let us start.
Just a quick question. So when do we close the eyes?
Whenever you feel that you can't open them. So you're gazing at me, not really looking for or looking at something. You're just gazing at me as an object, as a consciousness, that's all, just object. And then you close your eyes as and when. And then watch what happens to you after. And when you close your eyes, you can go into the seat of consciousness, so the trajectory, which is again, if we drew a line from the third eye to the back and between the ears, so the midpoint of that. You don't have to look for it, you'll just drop into it. So let's start. So find yourself in the center of the trajectory, center seat of consciousness. Just notice the visions or the experience of feelings. Just make a note, mental note. And then the field will become quiet again after it is recalibrated. And your body will become silent and still. We will hold this place for another few minutes so we can magnify the stillness. This energy system becomes more cemented. focus on the heart now. So entire focus on the heart, rhythmic breathing. What is rhythmic breathing? Inhale and exhale should be equal count. Soft, smooth, buttery breath. So gently just hold your focus on the heart. So the entire organism, all the signals from heart to brain become coherent. Every time you get hijacked by thinking, come back to the heart, the breathing. Notice how light the body is, chaos-free, stress-free. Notice the weight, how weightless it feels. Agile, alert, relaxed. The flow. You can breathe deep, you can breathe nicely. We are going to go deeper into stillness, and we're going to use our own sound to do that. We will repeat the sound starting with R, ending with M or M. I will do it the first time, then together so you can see that, and then together we will repeat it 3 times with a nice deep breath each time, loud and clear. This will keep you alert, keep you conscious, and will magnify the stillness, and so you can really experience your expanded consciousness. So together we will do 3 rounds of this sound. So nice deep breath. the heart again. Rhythmic breathing. Go back again into the head, into your dome, seat of projectory. All focus there. You're present, fully present. Holding the gaze inside. Your awareness, consciousness is the shining as you gaze upon the seed. You're fully present there. Don't be worried if you start to think. You just come back to the seat, the gaze, the inner gaze. I want you now to imagine any color at all, or a few colors, could be orange, pink, gold, blue. And I want you to see if you're seeing colors other than you recognize. Are the colors brighter? Are they moving in waves, in different shapes and waves? Look at the designs. They're moving in you, out of you, back in you. It's a whole new color coordination. Imagine being in a forest listening to the sounds within the forest, the song of the birds, the rustling of leaves, the gentle breeze as it passes and touches the leaves, the branches. Listen to the sounds. Are these sounds more clear, harmonious? Can you hear more clearly than you did before? Great. Go back to your situation of chaos, whether in the body or the mind, that you first experienced before we started this. And go back and just look at it. Is your experience different of that chaos? You don't need an answer. You don't need to look for anything. You're just gazing upon that chaos. Does it feel different in the mind and body? Does it disrupt your breathing? Or is your breathing still calm? Is it still unnerving or not? Any change that has happened is because of the recalibrating of the sense powers. Experience your consciousness, mind, body, individual consciousness. This is a good resting place. You could rest here. You are still here. This is your home. This is where you park yourself at night, where you plug in into the cosmic force, into the personal life force, into the collective consciousness. This is the place to sleep and rest. We're going to repeat 3 rounds of the same sound in closing. So nice deep breath each time. Great. So in this moment, share your consciousness with the rest of the world. People here, people out there. Intention is good enough. It'll manifest right away. Those who are ready for the new world, let them receive this message. The new world has risen, and we are all rising into it. Some slower, some quicker, but everyone shall enter this world. Project your consciousness on children of the world. Those are the innocents, the youth, all adults upon this entire planet and beyond this planet. So if there is more, let those worlds open up too for us. Take a nice deep breath, head to toe. Rub your hands. Great. You want to touch yourself 3 times, head to toe. All the way touching your toes. Great. So happy Diwali, happy homecoming. This is homecoming for human beings. It's not an event. It's a place where our consciousness rests in the current environment. So how was weekend? What time is it? Anybody? Okay.
It's
Okay, so we have about 10 minutes and we can share because it was new experience for a lot of people and we can actually see. So I would be interested in finding out about your experience when you were gazing and right after when you closed your eyes, what happened? Anybody?
I was getting some visual imprints almost.
Visual imprints.
Yeah. So which kind of shaped and changed form. Human.
Changing forms for humans. Okay.
Human
Yeah.
was changing, and then see some birds or something,
Okay.
and then color.
Colors and
Yeah, like purple and green.
yes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
It was fun.
Anybody else?
There was like a white glowing head as soon as I closed my eyes, and then it was like there was no face. It was like a white glowing head.
Just a white glowing head.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I perceived it to be male, but it was not. It was androgynous, and then the shirt was blue, and then it wasn't really a shirt, and then the colors all changed, and I had more like reds and greens. And then later you talked about colors.
Yes.
And is there colors I didn't know, and there was colors I didn't know, because they were sort of like almost fiery jewels or
Fiery jewels.
yeah,
Okay.
they just
Yes.
completely
Yes.
morphed it. You know, they're just
Yes.
completely wild things that were
Yeah. Wild things because we don't know those patterns
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and a lot of the colors you will notice in your sense world, you will be picking up colors that you may not even recognize, or they look different, or they're brighter. So colors that talk back to you, they're a language in themselves, you know. We're used to just talk like this, but the color world and with the sense world, when this matches, it's a whole, we meet different dimensions, we open up different worlds through this. So the colors actually become a sign language in themselves. Yeah, but we don't need to learn that. It just happens automatically. You see something and you perceive something different with it. So it's increasing the sensory powers, basically. And when that happens, when they're more in tune, equal inside, equal outside. When that happens, there's harmony in that balance, and we perceive things differently. So you will notice that in the next few days, that is one sign that you will have, that you're responding to situations really fast. Your thinking time has lessened a lot. So that's a place of rest, because you're not struggling, that there's not too much gap between when you think, when you see, when you decide. Decisions are made faster. So this is just the start today of this intergalactic, beautiful worlds. And we are in a new world, and our job is to basically take other people there. Because as you recalibrate, others in your environment will start to just, remember, we are sense objects. We are picking up from each other. We're going to copy each other, mimic each other. We've done that. That's how we actually pick up. It's not what you tell somebody. It's when they gaze upon you, how you are, what you are is what they become. Right? So because there's an automatic mimicking happening. So it's quite interesting how our world will slowly start to... will the entire world change? Absolutely. When this space hits, this new world happens. But what happens is that some people just get checked out. Have you noticed how many deaths are occurring? Even younger deaths, like all of a sudden you hear about people, so-and-so has cancer, so-and-so is terminal, so-and-so. So a lot of checkout time also for a lot of souls. And then also a lot of people who are not able to meet that, there's disease. Because they're not just able to, their organism cannot reach there, or for some reason. So they're checked out because of disease also. But those who are ready, and there's many becoming ready all over the world. So we'll start to pick up pace, and we'll see a whole new conduct, a whole new code, a whole new set of principles or characteristics and behavior patterns. First of all we'll be very transparent, so there's nothing to hide. What are you going to hide? Our problems are because we hide so much, right? So the transparency actually helps when people can see you, and they can then deal with situations that they can see. So the old codes of increase your awareness, increase your focus, old forms of meditation, they're just redundant. There's no process to this. It's instant. It's what we were thinking would happen, and it has happened. Instant manifestation. But the rules are slightly different, which we can access. Nobody needs to teach you the rules. They will just come from within, because it's high intuitiveness and high into wisdom, into intelligence. Because the inside trajectory is so strong, your connection to the cosmic force, life force is so strong, it's projecting so well that you're not going to make mistakes in what you see and what you perceive and what you act. Because your entire experience is created from your sense world, right? You can't create any other way. So, anybody, any feedback, any questions at this time?
So, what if you didn't get there?
Oh, we don't need to worry. This is one thing that, this is the least bit of our problems. When this happens, you will notice. You will notice in little things also, the difference. It's how you're eating, how you're choosing, how you chose that vegetable, how you're choosing. You'll notice the difference. You'll just become aware through your own actions. Yeah.
But for example, today I really don't think I got it.
Yeah. There's nothing actually to get. It just happens. Recalibration happens. You're not doing it.
Well, I didn't see any problems.
Yeah.
I didn't see
Yeah.
any.
Well,
I was trying to be relaxed, but then, it's like cramping. And even I tried my eyes down this time.
Yeah. Because I think what
I just
happens
didn't
is,
get
in your case, that you have this perfectionism that you feel that you have to get at the right place, do it the right way. But these words are just pointers. So you have to realize that you're also in my presence at this time. So whether you like it or not, whether you do it or not, you will get there.
Well, that's
You're
good
not
to know.
alone, right? The force is plentiful to take you there.
I just find that boy
Yeah.
got everything
Yeah.
on my own, not, but
Yeah.
okay, that's good to know.
And
I still
also
get it.
some people are very visual, so they see things differently, right? They see things. Some people know things. Some people don't. Not everybody needs to see colors or to hear things. Everybody's intuition and senses are working in a whole different way. So we don't have to worry if somebody saw orange, that doesn't mean that you should see something. So what happens is usually a person who is not used to seeing that way, they feel that they missed out on the experience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel, oh my God, everybody got there. I haven't, but you don't need to worry. And that is why you come here. That is why you come here. Because when I was going to the masters, I didn't need to use my head. I didn't need to learn a thing. I would, in their presence, it was just a sort of a blessing. It got transferred. It's quantum entanglement. You're in the presence and you start to shout. So I didn't need to do the work as other people did, because I knew the smart way of transferring intelligence. When I met with the Buddha, and this was 9-day period that we were together. So it was just there, and 9 days it was just gazing. And the 9th day, that gaze was over, and I had already taken what I needed. Same with Christ, same with other masters, 2 days, 3 days. So there was this whole wisdom transferred and this intelligence transferred that in this incarnation, up to that age, I had no experience of, but I did after that transfer. So it was just a direct, just being present to that and gazing upon and just meeting them, being in that company. So you don't have to worry. What experience you have, you don't need to worry. You can throw out those thoughts and be rest assured that you will land, because you're not alone. Yeah. Our doing this here right now may have helped so many people, so many souls who were waiting and willing. But in their dream states, it could happen. But it happens when one physical body starts to make it a physical experience. Then it is transferred for every soul who's ready. So it's at quantum speed, it transfers. Right?
Just quick, with that, like you were saying about times and quantum physics and stuff, did that have anything to do with those two suns that just collided on Monday? Or?
I've no idea, but I know lots is happening. Lots of, because I really feel that it's not just a speed in consciousness, it's a very physical speed that has shifted. So that collision could be part of that too. Also, the fires, earthquakes, floods, we'll see a lot of that, because when the speed shifts, everything becomes erupted for a while. It'll show up in nature, it'll show up on the planet Earth, it will show up in human consciousness. So it shows up everywhere. Yeah. So there's a lot of colliding and collisions. Yeah.
Yeah, they did say it actually was so powerful that
Yeah.
it changed time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to have been saying that our time is shifted. It's no longer the same. It's really fast forward, and it's quantum speed. So our creating time also is different, and that's really exciting. So chaos right now is actually, when you have this chaos, then you're ready to shift. You're ready to move. So I don't believe in let's treat depression. Well, how are you going to treat depression? The phenomena of depression has been there forever. You don't get what you want. We don't even know where it comes from. We don't know why we personalize it, so much. That it's because something happened to me. Not really. There's a collective consciousness. Yes, something happened to you, but it happened to every human being like that. Right? Human experience is a very odd, intriguing experience. You're not going to be treated with like petals, or it's hardy experience. It's a physical experience. So get ready for this physicality. Be ready for knocks and shocks and everything else. Why are you thinking that somebody is going to take you through the human experience like this? You chose this planet where everything shatters and breaks, and out of that comes new life. So you're on a very hardy planet. Look at the rocks, look at the mountains, look at the deep oceans. And here we can't be acting fragile. There's no room for fragileness. You either be strong or we check out, because we are otherwise coming in each other's way. So we won't progress, we won't let others progress. So you'll be stomped upon. And then, what do we do? So it's a very interesting time and a very interesting phase. So happy Diwali. I think we've hit 8:15 our time. Meditation.
27, yeah.
Great. So happy Diwali, happy homecoming, and we shall be back next week again. People out there, people in here, thank you, namaste. If you have enjoyed the wisdom and the intelligence and the prayer or the meditation, please share this video so we can spread this, not the awakening of that kind, but we can wake up to this new world here and now. Thank you. Namaste.